Hey everybody, welcome. If you're watching today, you're probably here because you're hoping that we might not hear myself echo in the background. Hopefully, you were here because you thought maybe we would talk a little bit about making a new realm for the Ensis Trials using Arium Create. Unfortunately, due to an unforeseen emergency, the stream for that tonight is canceled. Wah, wah. So, if you are around and uh, we're hoping for that, then I apologize. We're actually going to reschedule it to the 22nd of February currently. If you are following along on the Adept Icarus Discord or on our Facebook, the events for that have been updated. So if you follow along on those events, you'll get notified when it's time to do this again. And then we'll have myself, M. Earhart, and Chris McClanahan, who is an artist that we are going to have do some work on by. So, also a really talented game designer. Anyway, I'm going to take just a minute, just so in case anybody jumps on and they were wondering what was happening, why there isn't a stream, what's happening. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing with Vi and what the whole thing is all about. So Vi the Ensis Trials is a game. It's a tabletop role-playing game. It's very tightly tied to tarot cards. So it uses tarot cards as part of its resolution, as part of its character creation, and as part of its sort of discovery process. The major arcana cards or the trump cards in a tarot deck there are 22 of them, and those are representing the 22 different dimensional realms, or just realms, in Vi. And so what we've been doing is we've been playing Arium Create to create each of those 22 realms. And so I've got it up on screen right now. You can see a couple of them that we've done so far. You can see, we did the Emperor, we did Temperance, we did Judgment, and we've got lots and lots of ideas of cool things here. And what we were going to do tonight is the Tower. So that's this one here, which is kind of it's pretty dark. A Tower of Pancakes, of course. Super, super scary and dark. But anyway, we'll be back to do that stream on the 22nd, where we actually create this world together with Chris and M and myself. And then, I don't know, maybe in that time, maybe I can add another special guest or something. We'll see what we can figure out. But no promises. However, what maybe I'll do for just a second is I will go over a little bit about, maybe let's look at the Vi character sheet just for fun. What do you think? Let's see. I don't know. What would be a good way to look at that? You know what? I know exactly what to do. So these are a bunch of pre-generated characters that we made for PAX Unplugged. So we made pre-generated characters for the Fool, the Magician, Empress, the Emperor, the Chariot, the Moon, the Star, Temperance, the Hanged Man, and Justice, because those are realms that were all complete when we went to PAX Unplugged. And then we've been working on a couple since then. So obviously that isn't 22. We've still got quite a few to go. So we'll probably do a few more of these streams in the future. But let's see if one of these might be interesting to take a peek at. Ooh, let's see. We've got Aquamarine, an artist. We've got Aquila, orange. Dolphus, a werewolf. Interesting. Jackal, Anticorp. Prosper Zeeb, a Spirian. What if we look at our friend here, Ted Nosby? So we've got Ted Nosby from the realm of justice. Maybe I'll just read you this little bit about justice down here. It says, life isn't fair is not a concept in this dimension. Everything is fair. From the food allotted to each person to the shelter provided, every job pays the same and no work is considered more important than another. Identical cities with tall rectangular buildings dominate the continent, connected by a web of highways, rails, and buses. Inhabitants represent their individual style through the creative ways they use the resources allotted to them, often choosing to receive fabric instead of prefabricated clothing. So very kind of like equalitarian, I guess, in some ways, but maybe a little bit on the maybe expression is a little difficult here. Seems like things are kind of the same. So one thing to know about Vi is that it is a game where every realm is either experiencing a current golden age or they are in some kind of a dark age. What happens when they enter that dark age is there's someone, a wise and powerful beacon, who is, one of the characters in your group, who has an opportunity to go out and find and seek this sword Ensis, and bring it back for a champion to help bring their realm back into a golden age. And then the other beacons in the group are from other realms, of the 22 realms, and they can come back and help this beacon whose realm was in a dark age as part of a pact. So they've made an agreement with each other, and these are sort of wise and powerful people who know of the existence of other realms and know of the existence of Ensis, but those people are kind of very few and far between. Consider it kind of like maybe Merlin, how he relates to Arthur in the Arthurian legends. Someone gave me another really great example of this the other day, and I'm really regretting that I didn't write it down because I can't remember what it was. Another example would be like a Morpheus to a Neo, right? Somebody who, can give someone that red pill, and maybe in this case, Ensis is the red pill for that person. It wakes them up and lets them know what reality is. And if you haven't seen The Matrix at this point, then I apologize for nothing. Anyway, so Ted Nosby is a wise and powerful person among the realm of justice. Someone who is seasoned and has been doing this for a little while. And so they've got more experience than someone who maybe is just proficient, right? But maybe not quite as much experience as someone who's venerable. And Ted has 4 primary attributes. They have fortune, glamour, violent, and cryptic. The first 2 are actually at a -1, so that's not really good there, Ted. Could do better. But you also have a violent of 6, so Ted's a violent person, I think we can agree, and has a skill for wrecking and coercing. So something to note. Because they have this skill for wrecking and coercing at a 3, they actually also have an additional ability for each of them. And also same thing for cryptic. So they have a cryptic attribute of 3 and a decipher skill of 3. And because the decipher skill is 3, they also have unlocked an additional ability on decipher. So maybe we'll take a second and look at those, or maybe just one of them. Maybe let's look at the coerce one, because I think it's kind of fun. It's called Villainous Aura. And so if we come down here to the second sheet, the character sheet, we can zoom in a little bit and read up on what a Villainous Aura is. So in this case, it is the menace implicit in your appearance and voice causes foes to tremble in fear. Once per hazard, you may mark half the remaining ticks on a life clock, rounded up. So basically, this is filling in half of the clock to resolve a hazard when menacing someone or appearing coercive to them can potentially have that effect. They've got, again, a couple of other additional abilities that they can potentially use as well. Continuing on the character sheet. Oh, I should mention too, each of these 4 attributes are also related to one of the suit types in a standard tarot deck. So fortune is related to coins or pentacles, glamour is related to cups, violent is related to swords, and cryptic is related to wands. And the themes of how those attributes work are kind of tied to that, so it's kind of cool. In addition, every character in Vi also has a power, an item, a trouble, and an enemy. And so we've done a couple of development streams where we've built out like the how of a realm in terms of like what are the different powers that are possible for a beacon who is from this realm, what are the different items that are possible, what are the troubles, what are the enemies, right? And parts of these are narrative and parts of them are mechanical, right? So they can have some impact on how your character might be involved in resolving hazards or just everyday communication, some flavor added to how they approach problems and how they think. So some interesting things there. Maybe we'll just pick one of these. I think the power is really interesting because this is the justice realm. So the power is called Deliver Allotment. Everyone gets theirs in the end. As a free action, make an additional violent test. On success, your opponent receives an additional tick to any of their condition clocks in addition to those generated by your normal test. On a failure, you receive the condition, and on a partial success, you both receive the condition. You may spend 3 essence to negate the condition. So if you were in a tough spot, you're like, you know what, I'm going to spend some of my essence and stop that condition from coming in. That's a thing that they could do. Anyway, so you have essence that you can spend on things. You have endurance that can help sort of soak conditions that you might take. And each one of these attributes has a little condition track here that goes along with them. So when you're involved in a hazard and something is, impacting your life side of your character here, then you might take a condition to fortune or to glamour. And if you have something that's impacting your death side, then you might have something that adds a condition to your violent or your cryptic. Those will give you minuses to using those abilities and the skills beneath them directly. And then as it advances, it has the potential to impact both of the attributes and all the skills underneath them. So a little bit there. And then ultimately, if you get too many of these conditions, then your character can die, or they can basically give up, right? They say, you know what, I've had enough, I'm going home. I'm going to take my ball and I'm going. So that's a thing that can happen. Yeah, I think, maybe one other thing, just for sake of discussion. So you see these little yellow balls down here in these clocks that are underneath each of the attribute boxes. So those are experience clocks. And some of them have the line through them here, which basically represents that these are skills that they aren't your favored or your favorite attribute, right? But your favorite attribute is the violent one in the case of Ted Nosby here. So it doesn't get the line across it, which means actually you're just trying to fill up the spaces in this in order to do something. So on these ones under violent, you just have to fill in 2. So right now it's got 1, and I could pull 1 over here, and then this clock is full. So that means that at the end of a trial, then you have some time in the in-between space where you might be able to improve your character. And so you could say, hey, I'm going to take those 2 experience, I'm going to reset that clock, right? Take those ticks off of there, and then I could raise my wreck or my coerce or my deter by 1. Or if both of the clocks are full, then you could raise 2 skills, or you could choose to raise the attribute itself and raise that actually up to a 7. So that's a lot easier for the thing that you're favored in, and it's a little bit harder in the areas where you're not as favored. So you can imagine that might be pretty difficult to do, especially for Ted here. Say Ted wants to inspire someone to do something. Ted just isn't that inspiring of a person. And so tries to inspire someone to do something. And when he gets a success at inspiring someone to do something, then he would get 2 marks like this. If he were to get a partial success, then it would only get 1. And so you're trying to get this filled up. And then once it's filled up, then you can kind of do some things with it. Also, another thing you can do is you're like making tests in this game, right? Is you can take some of those ticks off of these clocks to help improve your odds of completing a test, which can be kind of nice. So if you're trying to do something really difficult, and, you know, even a violent rating of 6 and a rec of 9, maybe it's a really difficult thing for you to do. And maybe your cards that you've drawn, so you're... Ooh, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, say it's really difficult. You could take off a couple of those ticks and get some additional points to help buff up your ability to do that thing. So maybe it would go from a 9 to a... for example, if you take 1 off, in this case, it would add 4. So that would give you a 14. And you're generally rolling a d20 in this game. And so you're, yeah, doing some cool stuff there. Anyway, that is the character in a nutshell for Vi. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that is the basics for sure. And I think probably... Okay, that is a really classic Ted. Yeah, thank you, Cold Ward. I totally agree. Definitely classic Ted. I wasn't paying attention to the chat, but I love that. Anyway, so that's Vi. We're going to make a new realm for Vi using Arium Create on the 22nd of February. In the meantime, I and also Drew Gherkin, who helped create Arium, create and Arium Discover. Also M, who is working on Vi with me, and also Katie Young, who's working on another Adept Icarus project, Rue from Ruin, will all be at Life, the Universe, and Everything, LTUE, Writers Convention in Provo, Utah at the Marriott next week, the 15th, 16th, and 17th of February. On the 17th, we're actually doing this huge world building event where we have Dax Levine, who is the world record holder for the largest game of Dungeons and Dragons. He's going to help us MC a really cool event where we use a slightly tweaked, slightly modified version of Arium Create in order to make a setting, an enormous and very cool setting, I gotta add, with, you know, a couple hundred of our best friends who will be there with us. So I'm really excited about that. Not going to be any more streams until after that's come and gone. But if you happen to be in the sort of Mountain West area and want to drop by, you certainly should. I'll put a link. I don't have one handy right now, but I'll try and grab a link for LTUE and put it in the notes for this stream. And we're going to end really early today. I don't think I have anything else to go over, but we'll be back soon. If you liked this or you want to see more things like this, then by all means, please like and subscribe. And if you're like, man, let's find ways to have other people talk more than Will, bring on the guests and other people so that it's a little bit less of you talking all the time, then let me know, and I'll definitely do my best to make sure that we have more people on, so it's not just me talking. Anyway, great having you all, and hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Thanks. I'm gonna wait.